Hey guys, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. If you're new here, my name is Lauren and I am a full-time kindergarten teacher who is on a journey to pay off my student loan debt by flipping furniture. We saw these dressers on Facebook Marketplace and we are here to check them out and load them up. I think the pieces look good. I'm just a little afraid because the mirror is like damaged. And I just don't know how to fix that part of it. Like you'd almost have to get a new mirror or like, I don't know.
Someone can redo those, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because this is, this is pretty neat.
Yeah.
I don't know if they make those, if they can make that in that shape, I'm not sure.
So they had these both listed together for $150. And because of the mirror and the issues that I see, I got them down, well, we got them down, Neiman got them down to $125 and kind of showed them what we were thinking about doing and they were really excited about it. So I think we're gonna go for it for the $125, and if worst comes to worst, then I'll just detach the mirror and not put that on there, but I do wanna do my due diligence in seeing if the mirror is gonna work out. All right, we got a deal.
Sold to the Furniture Flipping Teacher.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alrighty, we got them all loaded up and we're gonna take them home and I'll get to work on them in a few days. Alright, so they are in the garage. I decided against the mirrors. I am gonna get started. My first step is to clean and then I'm gonna sand and stain and paint. I am going to leave these beautiful drawers exposed wood. I'm not gonna paint over them, but I am gonna do a little bit of painting on the trim. I actually put a poll over on Instagram, so if you're not a part of my Instagram, be sure to go over there and follow at Furniture Flipping Teacher, because I often put polls up there to get your guys' opinion. And the overwhelming color for the trim of these between a white creamy color and a black color was the black, so that is the color that I'm gonna be painting. I am gonna get started with cleaning. With these old pieces, it is for sure important to clean them. So I'm gonna use my cred cutter and a damp rag and then go ahead and spray it down and get that cleaned up before starting anything else. Alright, and now that I've got it cleaned with my cred cutter, I am going to go outside and sand. So my plan is to sand the top and the fronts of the drawers as well as the little indents in the sides. So that way I can re-stain those areas, but I'm going to leave the others pretty much the way they are and then I'll just paint over those. Here we go again with me forgetting things. First I got to take the hardware off, then I will get to sanding because I have to sand down the fronts of the drawers. And I am using an 80 grit sandpaper to start out, and then I'll probably go down to about a 120 just to smooth it out. I have to be very careful with the sanding because this is veneer. The tiger wood oak is veneer, and I do not want to dent it or chip it off in any way since I'm deciding to keep it. I think I am gonna try out the citrus strip and get the top layer off using this, so that way I don't damage the wood veneer anymore. It's just a little bit too tricky to get the sandpaper or the sander to not go so low, and it's gonna take forever with that, so we gotta move back inside to do the stripper. Do I look defeated? Because I feel defeated. So after, I don't have my watch on, but pretty sure it's like 5 hours. I actually really do not like to use citrus strip, and sometimes works, but we're gonna give it a shot. This might take more than one time. I finally got the tops of these pieces and the drawers all stripped from their varnish, so now they're gonna dry overnight. I put mineral spirits last to just clean it up and prepare it, but it has to be dry before I do any staining or any painting. So the only thing left that I'm gonna do today is to see what I can do about these wheels. So I'm gonna go inside and figure that out while these are drying, and I'll get back to it tomorrow. Alrighty, I am back in the garage today. I got some sleep. I am ready to tackle this project some more. Hopefully it's not going to be as crazy as yesterday. I also didn't get to the wheels, so while the stain's drying a little bit later, I will work on the wheels and see what I can do to kind of get the rust off of those. But I am going to first clean everything, just one more once over with crud cutter, and then my job is to be staining the fronts of the drawers and the tops of the pieces. That way the stain can dry before I tape off and paint. And since I'm going to be using black paint, I don't need to use any primer because the stain will not pop through the black. So that is going to be my next steps. Let's get to cleaning. So I'm going to be using the Early American stain to put on the fronts of the drawers as well as the tops of the dressers and the sides in between the slats. But I am just going to put a little bit on and wipe off as I go. So all I'm doing is putting stain on and then wiping it off so it can penetrate the wood just a little bit, but it doesn't get too dark. All right, so I got all this stain on there, and unfortunately, I am just not seeing the tiger part pop out. I think some of the mineral spirits took some of that away when I was cleaning up the citrus strip, so it's not as tigery as I would like it to be, but I think that it'll still turn out okay even after I put the black over the other parts of the dressers. We'll see. This is just the first time for me. If anything, it's a learning experience, and we'll just hope for the best. All right, so it has been about a month since I worked on this tiger set, and I just wasn't loving what I was doing. I was very frustrated with the way that things were turning out. All of the tiger oak has gone away. So I needed to take a break. And you know what? Sometimes that is okay. Sometimes I get into a creative block, and so I just need to move on to the next project, and then I can always come back to this one. As you can see, It's very cold outside, but I can't let that stop me because I've got a snow day here in Nebraska. So I am going to be sanding down the tops and the drawers of this thing after I have already scraped everything off with the citrus strip, and then I stained it. But now I've got a few more ideas, so I'm gonna try and carry those out. Let's get to sanding. Alright, I am all finished up with sanding. I took the tops down to the raw wood and then I just gave the rest a scuff sand because I'm going to be painting that. So let's go back in the garage so I can warm up. Alright, here we are back in the garage and I'm finally ready to tackle these things and make them look new. So I am going to take my early American stain from Polyurethane and I'm gonna stain all of the drawers and the tops of these dressers and make them look nice again, and then we're gonna get into some painting. So after sanding, you always need to grab a microfiber cloth and get all of that dust off before you either stain or paint. So I'm going to be using this lint-free white cloth that I just found on Amazon. You can get a whole bulk of them for very cheap. And I'm going to use this to apply the stain. I'm going to wipe it on and then I'm going to wipe it off. Depending on what the darkness level you want in your stain means that you can leave it on longer or you can take it off right away like I did. I didn't want it to be too dark, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it right away. Also, you can always go back and add another layer once this one is dry. Alright, now I'm going to move on to the tops of the dressers. Alright, now that the stain is on the tops and the drawers, I'm going to go ahead and grab my paint out and paint the bases of each dresser. Alright, and today I am going to be using the Chippy Barn again, and it is the Amulet Furniture and Decor paint in the color Obsidian, which is a dark black. And I've used this a couple of times before. I do love the Chippy Barn paint. It is not a chalk paint, it is a mineral paint, actually a ceramic paint. So it kind of bonds to the top of the furniture, doesn't sink in, and it really gives a smooth finish. So I did end up scuff sanding the sides and the fronts of the dressers because I wanted the paint to adhere well, and it was a glossy finish at first, and so I just wanted to get rid of that gloss, and now I'm ready to paint. I'm going to be using a zebra brush. It is their small 2-inch angled brush. Fits perfectly in your hand. Highly recommend these zebra brushes. I'm going to get started painting. Alright, and I am all finished up with the first coat of black paint, and so I am going to let this dry for a while, and then I'll judge to see if I need to do another one or if one is good. Before I put a second coat on the dressers, I am going to take the hardware outside and I'm going to actually spray paint it black. So the drawers are going to be that wooden and the sides are going to be black, so I thought it would be good to have the hardware pop as black as well. Alright, and now I am ready to go ahead and put on my second coat of Obsidian from the Chippy Barn. And I'm just basically going to touch up because this black did do a really good job of covering, but there are some spots that I missed, so I'm going to go back and make sure that everything is black. Alright, so I got both coats of black on the bases of the dressers, and the hardware is drying outside, so while everything is drying, I am going to take the polyurethane, which is the top coat for the things that I did stain on. It's really important that you do this top coat, as I say in every video, that because it protects the piece from getting scratched or damaged as much as possible. So I am going to do the clear satin because I don't want it to be flat, but I also don't want it to be too glossy. So the finish is satin, which is in between a gloss and a flat. Guys, I'm so clumsy. Alright, so I'm going to kind of show you how I apply the polyurethane to the top. I made sure that I had an oil-based polyurethane because my stain was oil-based, so you never want to mix water-based and oil-based. You want to keep everything water-based or everything oil-based. Now my paint is water-based, but I'm going to be putting a water-based top coat on that, so that is the difference. Whatever you use on the top, you need to make sure that you use the same base of top coat to seal it with. So for the polyurethane, again, I always like to use the foam brush, and that's just because it goes on nice and smooth. It's easy to control, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start. I also always go with the grain of the wood, so I'm going back and forth, and then it'll cover it and we'll have a nice smooth top. One last tip is you need to make sure that your top of whatever you are sealing has nothing on it. So there's no dust particles or lint or anything that could be sealed in that you don't want to be sealed in. So let's get started. I kind of like to start at the back and then go back and forth and then just do it in lines. You can do it that way, or you can start on one side and do with the grain of the wood always, but going back and forth over half of it, and then back and forth again over the other half. Okay, so that's all covered. Now I'm gonna go around the edge as well. And then I see a few spots that have higher sealer on it, so I'm gonna just go through and smooth everything out one last time, and then it'll be ready to dry. Okay, so that's all covered. Now I'm gonna go around the edge as well. Go slow, don't be in a rush when you're doing stain. Personally, stain isn't my strong suit, and I'm still learning how to strip it, how to apply it, how to apply the top coats. But again, I'm always learning, and I want to show you guys what I do and give you some tips of things that I learned. In the beginning, this dresser set really was frustrating me, and now that we are to this step, I'm seeing it all come together. I've got to apply the top coat to the black part next, so let's do that. Today I am using the top coat from the Chippy Barn as I did with the paint, and it also has a satin finish just like the tops. So this just means, again, not glossy, not flat, just right in the middle. So I'm going to apply it with my foam brush as I always do. So I'm going to get to it. Alright, and I'm all finished up on the black top coat, and now I am going to go out and check on the hardware. That should be dry by now, but everything's got to dry for a while before I go ahead and install the hardware. It's actually a little bit nice here today, so I went ahead and opened up the garage so we can have that beautiful daylight that I haven't had in a while. Here is the hardware. It's coming together. Now I'm gonna put the knobs on the other dresser. All right, and we are all done. Yes, okay. I am so excited, guys. These turned out great, even though I was so frustrated. I fought through and I made sure that I didn't give up on these pieces, because trust me, I wanted to give up. I really love the way that they turned out. And now I'm gonna go ahead and stage them on my staging wall, and I'm gonna take some photos to post on Facebook Marketplace. So again, when I stage, I just make it look like the person may put it in their home. For these two pieces, I'm actually going to list them together because they are a set, but I'm going to list them a little bit differently this time. In the same post, I'm going to be listing them that this one is costing this much and this one is costing this much, and together they cost this much, because I have a feeling that someone may want to split them apart, and I would be fine with that as long as I got a little bit more. And obviously I'm going to give a deal to the person who wants to buy both. Always remember to also take some photos of it not staged. That way they know that you're not hiding anything on the top or in the drawers, etc. Alright, and they are all staged and photographed, and I'm going to go list these on Facebook Marketplace. And I haven't decided 100% what I'm going to be listing these at. I truly want them to go fast, but I know that I put a lot of work into these, and I know that they are worth a good amount of money. After spending $125 on them in the beginning, I definitely need to be able to make that back, which I don't really have any worries of, but I also need to think of the time that I put into it. Generally, I don't do like an hourly amount that I want to earn or anything like that, because if I did that, I mean, I understand I wouldn't be making that good of a return, especially on pieces that take me a little bit longer. But since I'm still learning, I have to be gracious with myself, and I have to know that everything is not going to turn a huge profit. But I'm hoping that this set will. I am probably gonna list this set around 200 a piece. Could be a little bit more. Maybe I'll do 400 for the set, and then like 225, 250 for each one if they want to separate them. I will let you guys know in just a few days what I end up selling them as, or who knows, maybe I sell them today. I'm gonna go get those listed on Facebook Marketplace, and I will let you know what happened. It's gone, guys. The tiger dressers are gone. I am speechless because that sold way faster than I thought it was going to. I really have a hard time pricing my furniture on the higher side. And I mean, $450 really wasn't even that high for both pieces, but that's high for me. And so the fact that I got that and I didn't have to go down, they didn't even ask, but they were actually, they had just bought a house from the 1800s, so they were excited to be putting in some old antique furniture that was a little bit more modernized. And so that was really a cool story to hear, that they wanted to bring that older furniture into that house, and I had the perfect set for them. And that just shows you, again, all it takes is one person. That's the only person that reached out in the past couple of days. Let's get into the numbers for this set. I got it for $125 after getting the guy to go down from $150, and then after putting, yes, a lot of time, a lot more time than I would have liked to put into this set. I put in probably, I honestly lost count. I have no idea how much time I put into these. Definitely the most time I have ever put into a project. But I wanted to get it done, and I was able to take that break for like a month, but I got it done and it was great. There were so many lessons learned during this set. It was an antique, and I was mad at myself for kind of taking away the tiger effect, but then I was also reminded that it's okay to kind of have a creative block sometime, and if you get stuck, take a break and come back to the piece and try again, and don't let one piece get you down. Move on from it. And it showed me that I can, and I do have perseverance, so I persevered through this project and I got it done, and it was all worth it in the end. Alright, so I just sold it for $450, and then I bought it originally for $125. Spent about $25 in materials on it, so that's $150. So $450 minus $150, that's a profit of $300 going straight toward my student loan debt. Let me know down in the comments if you have ever had a piece of furniture that you got frustrated on, that you had to persevere through, that you had to take a break and come back to. It happens. We are creators, and that is what creators do. So don't get frustrated. Subscribe down below if you want to continue to follow along my student debt journey. I am paying off these loans one piece of furniture at a time, and I would love for you to join along. Follow me over on Instagram at Furniture Flipping Teacher for some more behind the scenes action, and I'll see you on the flip side. Wait! Head over to Dixie Belle's channel. I just released a video over there of me using their new silk paint, and I would love for you guys to see that flip, and you can check out how much profit I made on that dresser flip. Bye.